Good morning, guys. Welcome to my very first YouTube live. That's right. And I am feeling a little bit nervous, but just hang it with me. Today, we're going to be talking about why did my embryo transfer fail? That is $1,000,000 question. Yes, but I know it is something very, very difficult to discuss and talk about and to even think about. However, this is something that just absolutely needs to be addressed, and I'm going to need you to really stick around so that you don't miss an important detail. Because if you miss an important detail, then you could be really missing super, super important information. Please keep in mind that this vlog is only for entertainment purposes only. This vlog does not offer mental health advice, financial advice, no legal advice, no medical advice. It's only for entertaining purposes only. Okay, so also, really quick before I continue, after you're done with the video, check the description because you're going to be able to find links to all of my videos based on IVF, surrogacy, tips for uterine lining, and all of that. So go ahead and check that out. At the end, you also see an call action towards the end too, where you're going to see the playlist. All you got to do is click on it. Okay. So we're going to go step by step. And I am not a medical source. I'm just a vlogger, and I am speaking in behalf of all IVF patients, whether they are actual the intended parents or surrogates, because they all deserve the same kind of attention and importance. Okay. Also, this video is not does not have the intention to step on anyone's toes. I do not have the intention on stepping any doctor's toes. Here we go, you guys. Okay. So, first of all, let's go through like a little checklist. Have you gone over a hysteroscopy already? So a hysteroscopy is a procedure where some of the clinics they do it with anesthesia. Some of them don't. But what they do is they check the insides, and they check if there are, for example, any fibroids, any polyps, any scar tissue, and maybe the doctor might detect some signs for chronic endometritis. And sometimes during hysteroscopy, you're going to see me looking down because this is what my script is, you guys. I know it looks really wacky. So he or she might be able to remove polyps right there. And from that point on, you guys can determine a plan on what to do to address certain issues for example, fibroids, anything regarding scar tissue, and so forth, and chronic endometritis. I'm going to get into chronic endometritis here pretty soon too. Okay. So chronic endometritis can be a huge reason for implantation failure. And I'm going to tell you now why. Chronic endometritis is an infection of the lining of the uterus, and it could be caused by so many things. But let me explain to you really quick. It can be completely asymptomatic. You might not even know you have it. And to be clear, chronic endometritis is not endometriosis. Endometriosis is something completely different. Okay, chronic endometritis is something that can be resolved with antibiotics, and sometimes your doctor might be able to resolve it with one round of antibiotics. Some doctors go from one round of antibiotics and then they will go straight to a transfer. But in my humble opinion, I believe a doctor should do a test of cure biopsy to make sure that that chronic endometritis is fully gone. And sometimes I know that this is something that will take a while. I know this can be so frustrating, right? It is so frustrating, but I want you to hang in there because you're not far away from your dream becoming true, okay? So let's say, for example, that your first round of antibiotics didn't work, biopsy came out, still infection. Don't worry. There is still hope. The doctors might be able to prescribe another round of antibiotics. They might even, if they deem necessary, they might even prescribe a stronger antibiotic if you're healthy enough to tolerate that type of stronger antibiotic. But sometimes it's not even necessary. Excuse me. Blah, blah, blah. Okay, so I don't even know how my daughter does these YouTube lives. Wow, she's truly a champion because right now my nerves are totally wrecking me. Okay. Whew. Breathe, girl, breathe. Okay. All right, so after the second one, they do another test of cure. I know this is something that will take a while. And then if it's finally cleared up, then they can say, okay, now we have a much safer environment here. Okay. So also, moving on from that topic, ask yourselves, do you feel, or did you ever catch, or did any of your techs or doctors caught in any of the ultrasounds any possibilities of pockets of fluids? Because sometimes pockets of fluids could just be a little bit annoying for the environment. And sometimes they say, remember, this is not a medical source, this vlog is only for entertainment purposes only. Sometimes they say that it could be a sign of a little infection, or just sometimes pockets form and then they just use, a doctor may use just a vacuum to suck it out. Or sometimes, listen to this, it's a little secret, sometimes people talk about asking the doctor if they could use antihistamines under a doctor's supervision. They say that it helps clear out the area too before the embryo transfer. Don't do anything unless you have already consulted your doctor. Okay. We are going to bring up chronic endometritis again because this is a huge thing, you guys. It is so under-mentioned when it comes to all these IVF topics. Okay. Ask yourself, did you do a mock cycle and an ERA before your first embryo transfer? If you didn't, I strongly suggest you ask your doctor if you can run a mock cycle and ERA with tests, 𝘿𝘂 and 𝘿𝑒. And usually these three tests come in one whole package, ERA, 𝘿𝘂, and 𝘿𝑒. I think it's called EMBRYO, I think. Forgive me if I'm wrong. Okay, so I know that this seems like it would take forever to complete that. A little extra money, this and that, but it is so worth it, in my opinion. It's my opinion. Remember, this blog is not for financial advice, no medical advice, no legal advice, no mental health advice, just for entertainment purposes only. I'm here to hang out with you and offer you all my support that you so deserve, okay? All right, let's get into the ERA. So the ERA is the endometrium, I think, receptivity assessment. Sorry if I got it wrong, but you can look it up, ERA. So what they do is that they start a normal cycle as if you were going to do an embryo transfer, right? Whatever protocol that your clinic uses. Once it gets to the point of the last lightning check, as if you were going to do a transfer, it's the time to start the PIO injections, progesterone oil injections, or suppositories in case that your doctor is going to prescribe you those, or if it's a combination, whichever way, anyways. But when it's time to do that, what they do is that they do the average time, like, they do 5 days or something. They put you 5 days on it, I think it is. Then you go to the doctor, right? And they do another little biopsy. So during that biopsy, they send a sample to their labs to see, and this is so fascinating, like how science works. It's crazy. They determine if your uterus is receptive enough at the time of those 5 days. If your uterus has received enough progesterone, when the results from that ERA comes back, they will tell the doctor, well, we think you're gonna need here maybe 12 hours more progesterone, maybe 24 hours more, maybe 24 hours less. That can make a huge difference. Now, when you have, and that's a huge piece of information towards the right direction, right? Okay, so then you have the 𝘿𝑚A and ALICE. So the, okay, let me just look over really quick. Okay, so the 𝘿𝑚A test they use with all those samples, they might even send those samples to another lab, which are the ones that will conduct the full endometrial thing and all that. Okay, so for 𝘿𝑚A, EMMA, they what they do is that they measure inside the uterus the good versus the bad bacteria, right? And this is why you're gonna hear a lot of doctors tell you, before you get into the whole trying period, this make a baby sort of thing, start taking probiotics. You're going to notice a lot of doctors, some of them will tell you, hey, 90 billion probiotics twice a day. Let your body start creating that amazing atmosphere in the uterus so that when you get that test, you're ready to go. Maybe like a few weeks or a couple months. Sometimes they say even 3 months, That's what people say. So that's what I've heard some doctors say, So once you have, nourished your uterus with those probiotics, they're going to do the 𝘿𝑚A, and when the result comes back, they say, oh, okay, it says here that we have a really, really good amount of good bacteria, so they're going to give you some thumbs up right there. Okay. And then the ALICE test, which is part of the whole package too. That's the test that also determines if you have chronic endometritis. So yeah, you can know if you have chronic endometritis in several ways, and one of them is doing the ALICE test, or regular hysteroscopy or a biopsy. Okay, because everything gets biopsied. But that's like another way too. Even after you went through the hysteroscopy and all that, you can even double check here just to make sure. Okay. All right, you guys. So please stick around. There's a lot more. It's super important, super important that you do not miss a second. Okay, because I want to help encourage you or encourage any peers or any family members to know and understand that this is not an impossible thing. And this video, again, I'm going to say it again, this video is dedicated to anybody going through IVF, that, it could be any intended parents. That includes intended parents that want to become parents, single parents by choice too, whether they are male or female. In the case of males, through surrogacy too, or anybody going through surrogacy, this goes to surrogates too. I give them all equal importance because both surrogates and intended mothers that are going through IVF, they go through the same roller coaster of emotions. It's a tough process for both of you. So I am with both of you. Okay. Also, there is another test. I'm not sure what it's called because I'm not familiarized with it. But in case that you are known not to have endometriosis, there is still something called silent endometriosis. Yeah. So it's asymptomatic, and this is something that you might want to ask your doctor, hey, can you give me the test for silent endometriosis? I would really appreciate it, doc. So yeah, go ahead and ask him or her for that. Okay. So, oops, I don't want my lighting here to get messed up. Okay. So another thing, besides the probiotics, make sure that you have been on prenatals for like at least 3 months, before you start the whole thing, because it just gets your body ready. You really need that folic acid, potassium, iron, vitamin D. Vitamin D, you guys, is so important too. Okay, also, when they run labs, try to, tell your doctor to see if he can run, more labs, to see if they can detect any blood clotting disorders or any thyroid disorders, because this is super important too. However, if those lab results come out perfect, which is totally possible, there is still a chance that a little something might have gone undetected. And sometimes the doctors will, and patients like to take justice and matter in their own hands and just practice medicine or practice things for themselves, for their patients, the patients themselves, to be able to make things a little better and easier. For example, okay, to be able to promote, to be able to promote good thyroid health, I have heard a lot that it is recommended to have a diet that includes things like foods like pork, chickpeas, and beans. Those are foods that help you maintain good levels with your thyroid. And if you do have a condition, then you have to discuss with the doctor what kind of medications will help you stabilize your thyroid levels. And the other thing is, when there is an immune issue / or blood circulation issue, things could get a little complicated, and the uterus can get a little bit confused and just reject the embryo. So this is why, even if blood disorder conditions go unnoticed, sometimes after an embryo transfer fail, doctors want to add as a precaution 𝘿𝙤𝙀𝑒. So it comes in the form of injections, and it is a blood thinner. And I actually have a 𝘿𝙤𝙀𝑒 video. It is in my list of IVF videos. You'll be able to find it there. You can learn a little bit more about it, and how to administer it, in case that you're self-administering it. Okay, so what 𝘿𝙤𝙀𝑒 does, of course, it's a blood thinner. It helps promote blood circulation, because what happens is that when the embryo tries to implant into the uterus, sometimes, if the blood is a little too thick, it might try to clot a little bit, and then there's some cells that will just make sure that attack it, and therefore the embryo will reject it. And I am sorry, I don't have the best medical term vocabulary, because I am not a doctor. This is not a medical source. I am just offering the best knowledge as I can. I'm offering you my support here. So so they use 𝘿𝙤𝙀𝑒 to help promote the blood circulation, and to help those cells not reject your embryo. Excuse me. Okay. Also, during the embryo transfer, did your doctor prescribe antibiotics or medrol packs or prednisone? Well, prednisone and medrols are, I believe, they are a form of steroid, which helps fight inflammation. And then the antibiotics. The antibiotics are really good to help you prepare and strengthen your immune system, and help get rid of any kind of little infection in your body that may have started and may have gone unnoticed. It's like a huge way to prevent a lot of things. And I know that a lot of patients don't like antibiotics, and therefore, maybe their bodies are not compatible. Maybe, their bodies do not tolerate it. So therefore, they have to sit down with the doctor and discuss what are the other options. But for those who can't take it, great. So there's prednisone or medrols. You might be given medrol packs, or you might be given prednisone to fight any inflammation. So if that's part of your protocol, then I think that is really, really awesome. Okay. Also, I know this topic might be a little debatable too. Taking medications on time. I know some clinics might say, hey, if you miss it by a couple of hours, then okay, just make sure you get it. Before embryo transfer, in my opinion, it is very important that you take those medications on time, estrogen, and that you don't miss them. Set up your alarm on your phone. Make it a priority. I understand that sometimes people have to go in a hurry, but you have to, you have to make sure. It is crucial that you take those medications on time. And I know that, sometimes it can just be so frustrating because, accidents could happen, but you really, 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 really have to make it a priority. I am not sure about, after embryo transfer, once the embryo has been successfully implanted and you have been pregnant for a few weeks down the road already, maybe like 9 weeks or something, like let's say you miss it for a few hours and then you caught up right away afterwards, that's okay because your body is already producing part of their own hormones, so it's okay. But if you miss it by a little bit and then catch up right away with the supervision of your doctor, I'm not saying that it is okay, no, but right before the transfer, you have to make sure that is right on time. You have to make sure, and some clinics will tell you, well, you have to take, they don't give you an exact time, they'll just give you, morning and PM, but you have to try to spread it equally as possible. So like, for example, if they tell you 2 PIO shots a day in the morning bedtime, for example, if you are used to taking it at 8 a.m., then go ahead and do the second one at 8 p.m. Same thing with estrace or estradiol pills, estrogen, parenthesis. Space them out throughout the day, depending on the amount that you get. Remember, this is not medical advice, no financial advice, no legal advice, no mental health advice, no kind of advice. I'm just a vlogger. I'm just an entertainer here on YouTube. Okay. Another thing. Okay. Now, I know this can be very difficult for some people. Some people avoid testing their embryos to lessen the costs, but I want to tell you from the bottom of my heart, please, if you can do so, do it, because it is so worth it, and it can save you a headache. It can save you time, and it can just get you even faster to your dream becoming true. When you PGS test your embryos, you can get such great information. You can get all the, any kind of, you could find out if you have an euploids, or if you, which are normal embryos, or if you have mosaic, which are low quality embryos. And sometimes, when we women are using our own eggs, we have a lot of hopes that they're going to be healthy enough. And eventually, if after a few rounds it doesn't work out, then we ask a doctor and see if we can resort to a donor. But that would be a story for a different day with your doctor, but try to test them because, like I said, the information will give you a lot of value. You can find out if they are, again, normal versus abnormal, and decide which ones you're going to give priority to. When you grade them too, when you have an embryologist grade them through the process, it is amazing as well. You really want to, of course, if you're familiarized with the process, try to go with the AA and ABs. Those are going to be the order of priority. But if the quality is low, just pick the best one and start from there. Don't give up just because you have 1 or 2, 3, it takes time. It takes time. And I know it's hard to see other people have, success, but just give it time, because your time will come. Okay, your time will come. Like I said, I really, really, really strongly suggest that you test and that you grade, because it is so worth it. It is so worth it. Also, we are almost done, you guys, but don't leave, because what's coming up is super important as well. Okay. By the way, if you feel like you have learned something of value today, go ahead and hit the like button. If you're interested in watching more videos like this, subscribe so that you can get on your feed other videos like this. This is part of a series that I'm making. This is not my particular niche. I have a whole lifestyle niche. So there's a whole bunch of things that I like to discuss and tackle, which I think you might be interested in learning too. But if not, that's okay. But I am providing you with the list of the things that are related to this one, at least, in case you want to watch a little bit more and learn and hang out with me for a little while longer. Okay, so the last thing that I want to discuss, the second from the last. You have to remember that during the embryo transfer, the first, from what I have read and researched, from what I have gathered, the first 24 to 48 hours are crucial for that embryo or embryos. Implantation may occur as early as 24 hours and could go all the way to 48 hours, maybe a little bit later too, depending. Okay, but those first 48 hours are very crucial, and I know that sometimes either surrogates or intended parents, intended mothers, they have to take a plane the next day or a plane the same day. But I want to tell you, and I want to suggest you, please, for the sake of the health of your embryos and for the sake of the possible transfer success, please try not to flight the same day or the day after. And you know what? It's not because getting on a plane and the and the turbulence, and no. I'm going to tell you why. It gets crazy in the airport. Okay? It's stressful to pack. It's stressful and additional weight for you to be carrying the suitcases. And that stress is not good. That stress is not good for the embryo or embryos. So please, because we know that this takes so much work and so much money, please just try to take it easy and follow your doctor's orders. If they tell you, some clinics believe in bed rest, some clinics believe in just taking it easy or modified bed rest. I'm going to tell you my opinion. My opinion is have some really good bed rest for the first couple of hours. Then after that, you take it easy. You walk around to keep the circulation going. My opinion again. After you walk around a little bit, lay down again. Put your legs and your hips up so you can stimulate that blood circulation to your uterus. Wear some nice warm socks. try to keep them on for as long as you can for the next couple of weeks. Yeah, and just take it easy the next day. The next day, kind of like go back to normal, but just, that's my opinion. You always have to talk to a doctor before resorting to anything. Don't try not to please deal with the whole airport thing, because it's stressful. And if there's delayed flights or missed connections, yeah, quite the struggle. So also, detoxify mentally. If you feel like there is anybody in your family or friends, you have to have your strong support system. But if you feel like not everything is perfect always, right? So keep a distance from anybody that you think could be stressing you out a little bit. Temporarily. Because sometimes, you have to talk to them and deal with them. And just focus in happiness, in peace, and watching funny stuff. Something I really recommend? Binge watch Impractical Jokers. Oh my goodness, I love Impractical Jokers. I've been a huge fan since 2012. Binge watch that. That is going to relax you so much. And I also recommend not to test for as long, not to home test, just for as long as you can. Even if you make it to 5 days past transfer, you're gonna make me so proud of you, girl. Yes, trust me, yeah. And now, to wrap up this video, I want to tell you something very, very important. Please don't miss this part. There is still a 50-50% for an embryo transfer to work or not. So if it doesn't work after you tackled all the things that I mentioned, remember that we still do not have all the technology to detect every single abnormality in every embryo. We do not have it yet. So, and you can confirm this with your doctor. So what do? You try again. But you have to make sure that you already tackled all the things that I mentioned, because I'm going to tell you right now, the chances for another fail after all those things that were tackled are very slim, in my opinion. Okay? Check out my end of call action list. It's going to include a full list of IVF and fertility videos, tips to increase your uterine lining, IVF secrets. That video has it's a short, it's a YouTube short, has like a lock and like an emoji with like a sign like this. That one is super nice, yeah. How to get a trilaminar endometrium, that's another video that I made. So check those out, okay? And subscribe for more videos, okay? So thank you so much for hanging out with me today. You guys have a wonderful day. Share, like, show this to your friends so that they can know there is actual real hope, okay?